Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Come on, you woolly bastard! Come on!
Deep in the heart of Bigfoot.
Oh boy.
Bigfoot country.
Boy. Yes, we're in it. We're deep in it.
Yeah, man. We're lost.
Yeah.
Stranded in Bigfoot country.
Yeah, we are. This is a brand new episode of Sasquatch. Sasq Watch. Sasq Watch.
Watching Sasq.
2 words. A show where we watch movies about Bigfoot. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really what it is. We watch and squatch.
Oh, we could have called it Watching Squatching.
We could have, yeah. Watch and squatch.
Yeah.
That's probably what we should have done.
Oh, well.
Anyway, it's far too late for that. We're too deep into Bigfoot country to change the title now, Dave.
Of course we are. I think this is our 3rd episode. I don't know. I'm one of your hosts, David Bell.
I'm another host, Tom Ryman. Yeah, that's right. That's me.
And we're watching movies about Bigfoot, and we're going to talk about those movies, and then we're going to talk about what we've learned about Bigfoot, and then we're going to talk about what Agent Fox Mulder would do in these cases of Bigfoot. This is brought to you by our producer, Bob Grenville. Thank you, Bob Grenville. Robert Grenville, thank you for giving us this noble task of watching movies about Bigfoot. We watch Demon Warp, we watch Pottersville, and so
far,
it's only natural.
10 out of 10, both of them.
Yep. It's only natural that we would then watch 2014's Exists. That is the movie we are talking about today from the director of the Blair Witch Project. You can tell because it's got fucking white text on black screen.
It sure does. It's also found footage.
It sure is. It's a breezy 80 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I want to start with no, you know what? We should just go through the plot first.
Yeah,
because I have a big take on this movie.
Oh,
did you like this movie?
I thought it was fine. Like, it was okay.
Yeah, it is okay.
It's okay. There's a couple of decent sequences, but overall, it's fine. Bigfoot looks good.
Yeah, it's 80 minutes. Well, there's some shots where he looks good.
Yeah, there are some shots.
Yeah. It's 80 minutes, and it felt like they were struggling to fill those 80 minutes because it's like Bigfoot. It's just a series of Bigfoots. It's these dipshits going into the woods. There's barely. It's one of those found footage movies where they have someone say put down the camera, so it's like, okay, you're calling attention to it, but there's like barely any motivation. It's they're just driving to the woods, and this guy brought a bunch of GoPros and equipment.
I love these these random teens because they're all it's 2 couples and this dude Brian who winds up being our main character. Essentially, he's the one filming everything. Yeah. And they get they're going off to go camping in their uncle's cabin. Brian and one of the other guys in the couple are brothers. So they're going off to their uncle's cabin to go camping, and they turn off the road into a barely overgrown path, and everybody starts getting real upset. And then they get to the cabin, and the cabin's full of leaves and stuff, and everybody's really upset. And they're like, I guess we should probably just stay here. We'll turn back in the morning. So they've given us a group of people that I never believe would ever want to go camping, and yet they're going camping.
Yes. It's also it's your standard issue slasher teen group, which is 2 couples and 1 stoner. It's as basic as it can get, right? And yeah, they all seem weirdly different. They're all idiots.
They don't like to do anything outdoors. It was really
right.
I really sat for a surprising amount of the time I was watching this movie, trying to figure out why any of these people went on this trip.
Right. And then with a shitload of cameras, like GoPros on everything.
He has so many cameras.
Yeah, they try to explain it where they have one day where they're doing terrible. They're just riding their bike into a lake, and they're doing some flips. And I'm like, surely you didn't bring 60 cameras just to film this.
That's what Brian keeps saying. He's like, I'm going to make you all the sickest YouTube video ever. It's going to go viral. Yeah. And it's like he brought thousands of dollars of cameras to film his friends doing backflips into a lake.
Yeah, and it's like
I don't think this one's going to go viral, man.
Yeah, like good God. So there, it's like the flimsiest of reasons.
It's the premise and is like paper thin.
Yeah, and the movie throughout, they keep justifying, like when a character gets attacked, they find their cameras after. So they were clearly concerned about like the logic of the footage, meaning like, oh, we have to show them finding the footage that we show, right? Otherwise, how would we? It's not found.
Yeah, otherwise, this house of cards comes toppling down.
Right, but it is also much like a found footage. It'll cut away for suspense, and it's like
it cuts to coverage. Oh, and it'll cut to coverage, but it'll also, you're right, it cuts to different scenes.
Right, it'll show like Bigfoot approaching, and then it'll cut away. And I'm like, well, if this was, let's pretend. Let's do the found footage world where this is actual footage that was found and we're watching a documentary. Why would the documentary cut away for suspense? It would want to show you what happens. And so like it's trying to be realistic, but then it also isn't. It's still a movie.
I didn't care about that part so much.
Yeah, it's just whenever I watch a found footage, it's sort of the thing that found footage movies, it's the same game every time where they go like, just pretend. Because we don't want to have a big budget for this. But when you do the work of like really thinking about the logic of like if it was a found footage, like truly, a lot of the stuff they do is baffling, right? And yeah, he like films his friend sleeping at one point before something scary happens.
Yep.
I'm like, why are you doing this? Like there's scenes where he's just filming. And it's like, why would you be filming this? Oh, okay, because something's going to happen. Right, because
something's about to happen, yeah. Or he sets up GoPros all along the outside of the house to capture footage of Bigfoot, which he hasn't mentioned until about 25 minutes into the movie.
Yep. He also faces those GoPros towards the house.
Yeah.
Because he knows that Bigfoot's going to attack the house. If you were actually doing that, you'd face it towards the woods.
You'd probably face them out toward the woods, but every single one of those things is pointing at the front door of the cabin like security cameras.
Yeah.
Because they saw paranormal activity.
Yeah. So basically, these are the worst people ever. They're setting off fireworks from their car. They light their friend's beard on fire. They're just terrible.
Yeah.
And they're
all way the worst people alive.
Yep. They hit something with their car, and then the friends lay on the horn when they take slightly too long to assess what they killed. Again, terrible people. And so they hit
they have to convince the driver to even stop. Like they nail something with their car.
It's so weird.
And like they're all so we should pull over. What? Oh, fine. It's Samantha or whatever. And they pull over. It's like, what are you going to check the deer's pulse or something? One of them says. And it's like, if it's the deer, man, we don't know what we hit.
Yeah.
Although when they when they check the footage, because of course somebody was filming, they just so happen to be doing the beard burning prank when they hit and filming it when they hit this thing on the road. When they check the footage, it is very clearly a person in a Bigfoot costume.
Right. They'd be like, we hit Michael Shannon. Fuck.
He's just laying in the street roaring.
Dare I say, so the Bigfoot, they do close-ups of Bigfoot and he looks good, but there's clearly some shots where he does just look like Michael Shannon. Like when it's like they clearly had two costumes, like the expensive one, and then they had like the fast one.
Yeah.
And the fast one was bad.
They obscure it most of the time too with some sort of visual effect in the footage.
Yeah.
So it like you can tell it's like anyway.
Yeah. So they go to the cabin. Cabin's all fucked up. The guy starts humping the bed. Like this again, they're all just like kind of the worst people. I got the sense that they told the actors to improv, but the actors didn't have the best ideas for that. I don't know. They sleep in the car. They keep hearing this moaning, like something is, hurt, a Bigfoot perhaps. And then our main character does, I think, the most relatable thing. He gets really high and looks for Bigfoot.
Yep.
He just, which I would do. I would do this too. It's a paradox, though, right? The thing about getting high and looking for Bigfoot is that you would only look for Bigfoot if you were high, right?
Right, but nobody will believe you.
But also, you don't want to find Bigfoot while high.
I think,
that's the
honestly, I think that's the best situation to find Bigfoot in.
I guess, yeah.
You don't want to be sober, staring down both barrels of a Bigfoot.
Right. I mean, most likely you'd get eaten by a bear, but whatever.
Right, again, an experience I would prefer to be high for.
Right. So, finally, we get Bigfoot strolling up to the cabin. That's probably where he took shits, and now there's a bunch of people in it.
He was living in that cabin.
Yeah. It's their uncle's cabin. They learned that the uncle didn't want anybody to go there because of big feet.
Yeah, because he's terrified of big feet. But
yeah,
he keeps the property for some reason.
Right. Bigfoot kills someone, right? It kills his brother? Or think he does?
He kills... Man, what happens first? I think he kills Elizabeth first? Oh, no, wait, no. Matt goes on his bike first. That's what happens.
Right. So, Bigfoot attacks the house, and then the next day, they're there for days. He goes on his bike, and because Bigfoot smashes the car. And I want to talk about this real quick, because he throws a log through the windshield of the car, and they're like, man, the car's busted. And I'm like, is it, though?
Well, they do try to start it.
Oh, do they?
One of them says try and start it. So they do try that. But the more baffling thing is they all have mountain bikes. And
only one of them
they get to the truck and they're like, oh, man, we're stuck here. And they were carrying their mountain bikes because they were about to load it onto the truck to leave. So
right.
It's like, just pedal out of here. Just pedal out of here. That's what the bikes are for.
Right. It didn't seem like they were that far from the main road.
No, they were right off of the main road. They drive for a little bit, but not that far.
Right. So, it really does seem like if they just all get on their bikes, they probably would have a good shot, and most likely they'd all survive. But no, they just send one of the people, and he gets chased down by Bigfoot, who attacks the bike, and that's when they cut away. We think he got killed, but we'll learn later he gets kidnapped. Bigfoot hurls the bike at the house, which is hilarious. I love that Bigfoot's like, you forgot your fucking bike! We learned that here he stole his uncle's keys, didn't tell anybody, like he's working with Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And then
it's a real Bigfoot colluder.
Right. Then Todd, who's the one who was shooting off fireworks, who's one of the, just a dipshit. He finds a gun, which I thought he was going to immediately shoot somebody accidentally. He finds a loaded gun. And so I think this is when they just say like, oh yeah, the Bigfoot throws the bike. They found the gun and they're like, it's waiting for the night.
Yeah.
Is what they decide. Which, if that's true, everybody get on your fucking bike.
Waiting for the night. Yeah, get on your bikes. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, they wait for the night. This is when it attacks and kills Liz, who is Todd's girlfriend. Or it seemingly kills Liz.
Right.
They throw them down into the tower. I mean, not the tower, into the cellar. And they hide down in the cellar. And they think Liz is dead, but she comes back to life, which alerts Bigfoot. So they have to blast him through the door, the trap door, and he runs off. And
Then Liz dies. And so now there was only 3 of them, and they go off into the woods. They do the thing they should have done, and they just walk. They don't take the bikes still.
Yeah, they still don't take their bikes. They go off into the woods, and then they're following the gorgeous main trail, and then our main character, Brian, looks off to the side and says, very dipshittily, let's take the shortcut.
Yeah, let's go get lost.
Right, he's like, no, I'm from here. We used to come here all the time as kids. We'll take the shortcut. You never take shortcuts when you're lost in the woods. Just follow the trail.
No.
It's impossible to walk in a straight line through the woods. You're guaranteed to get they're doing everything you're not supposed to do, Dave.
Yeah. And sure enough, they get lost. This
is when they find a random RV, an abandoned RV.
Well,
in the woods.
This is, I know if it's before or after, they sleep for the night, and then Bigfoot fucks with them, and Todd just starts firing wildly.
Oh, right. They're like sleeping underneath a bridge at night, Because they get lost, because of fucking course they do.
They do all the worst things. They burn through their ammo. They get lost.
Right. Todd decides he's going to take his stand because he's upset about his girlfriend being dead. But he decides to take his stand in the dark while they're at the bottom of like a ravine and Bigfoot is throwing huge rocks at them. He's just shooting in all directions, can't see anything. And it's like, dude, this is not the place to do like the Sonny Landham and Predator Last Stand. Like you need to at least be able to see Bigfoot.
Right, they're like, Todd, you're wasting our ammo.
Yeah, and it's like, you're also letting Bigfoot know where we are.
Yeah, it's very dumb. Then they find the camper, and then they decide, and then they also find the brother in the cave. So they hear him yelling, and they find him in the Bigfoot cave and shoot Bigfoot again.
Yeah, they have to crawl into this like underground warren, like this little tunnel. It's like a little root tunnel. It looks like a rabbit hole. And he drags his brother out, whose Bigfoot has just smashed his legs to pieces, and it's just keeping him down there. I'm not sure why.
Bigfoot's having
particularly with
day.
The way we see how the movie ends. I super don't know why Bigfoot was keeping him down there.
I guess as bait,
just to keep smashing his legs. I guess.
Yeah, he just keeps going and hitting him in the legs.
Yeah.
They drag him to the camper because they passed the camper and now they go into it. And Todd decides we pay off the fireworks because they get a call and his uncle is here now. His uncle came to find him. So Todd goes to set off fireworks. I don't know why he does this. He runs
He runs like a mile away from the camper. I guess because he doesn't want to draw Bigfoot to the camper, but
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
He draws Bigfoot to him.
He draws Bigfoot to the camper anyway.
Yeah, because he draws Bigfoot to him and then runs to the camper.
Yeah, so immediately runs straight back to the camper. So defeats any purpose of setting the fireworks off so far away.
Yeah, these people suck.
They do the dumbest thing at every moment. It's great.
Yeah. Bigfoot tosses the camper off of a cliff.
Well, he murders the shit out of Todd first.
Oh, yeah. He murders the shit out of Todd, tosses him off the cliff. The uncle shows up with another gun. So but not before. I think here's where we get the motivation where our main character, who is at this point, I think the only person
He's the only
alive,
one, yeah. The brother with the smashed legs and his girlfriend, who are the only other two characters left, are killed when the camper goes over the cliff. Brian gets dragged off by Bigfoot, who... Yeah, he has basically his dead little Bigfoot son, and he's rubbing Brian's nose in it. They hit baby Bigfoot with their car and killed him.
Yep, and this is all about revenge. And so he lines up all the bodies.
Right, he's laid them all out ceremonially next to his dead son.
Yeah, and he's just like, "Look what you did! Look what you did!" The uncle shows up. They run away. The uncle gets killed. Our main character gets the gun and then just has a face-off with Bigfoot where he's pointing his gun at Bigfoot, who, now that he understands why Bigfoot's mad, you can tell he feels bad. And he basically just says, no more of this. No more of this. And he puts down the gun and Bigfoot lets him go because I guess Bigfoot respects that. Basically, he basically says, I'm sorry, and puts down his gun. Bigfoot's still mad and runs away. Basically, like, well, I killed most of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I think you learned your lesson.
Yes. And so now
and that's why you don't burn beards.
Yeah, exactly. That would be so amazing if it's
an Arrested Development lesson.
That would be so good. Did you notice that this has a lot of the same DNA as Demon Warp, but less fun?
Yes.
Yeah, a bunch of dipshits go to an uncle's cabin. The uncle knows there's Bigfoot there.
Bigfoot appears at any time and will kill anyone for no reason.
Yep, they're there to fuck in the woods. It's like straight up. Bigfoot breaks their car. The male leads are more of a liability than anything.
One of them becomes a maniac and starts liberally pointing the gun at other members of the group. Like it's right. Todd doesn't do it like angrily. It's just they keep pointing out that he's kind of a clown with the gun. Like he keeps sweeping the barrel over the other members of the group. And you just pointed the gun at me again, Todd. Like they pointed out a few times.
They do. And then both end with them going into a cave to save a friend.
Yeah. Who can't be saved.
Yeah, so that's all to say this movie's okay, but having just watched Demon Warp, I'm like, well, there's a better version of this.
Right.
A far better version of this.
This one was trying to be serious. Like it's trying to be Blair Witch, but with Bigfoot. And it does a lot of the same things that Blair Witch does. It's a lot about like what you're not seeing. It's a lot about what you're hearing. Like you hear Bigfoot a lot. You hear like cries from the brother whose legs are smashed, and you hear like movement and stuff. And most of the time you see Bigfoot, he's obscured by trees and he's just kind of like this dark blur.
Here's the problem with that, in my opinion. The better version of Blair Witch with Bigfoot, which we will be covering, I believe, is Willow Creek.
Yep.
Because that actually does the thing. And what I mean by that is we never see, spoilers for Willow Creek, you never see Bigfoot.
No, not really.
It's actually more like Blair Witch. One of the things that made Blair Witch, I thought, a very effective movie, even after the fact, even after knowing that it's fake, even after the hype, is that you don't see anything. I don't know what a Blair Witch is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, I don't know what that is. Is it a ghost? Is it a physical entity?
I want to pause that real quick just because Todd McFarlane for like series 1 or series 2 of his, when he made the Blair Witch figure, we're like, what is it?
Yeah.
And it's just some fucking stupid shit he made up. And it's like, this is from Todd's imagination. It's like, get fucked, Todd father.
Right, and it was a bad imagination.
It was stupid. It was just like a dumb zombie with a scythe. It was like, that's not okay. That's not at all what I was picturing.
Right, that's what I was picturing was scarier.
Yes.
It reminded me of like the Tooth Fairy in Darkness Falls. Like that's what it looked like.
Right.
Like a shitty like.
It was
so like
this is during his Twisted Tales of Oz phase too. So he was making a lot of hog shit. Old Todd McFarlane was, but anyway.
Because the Blair Witch to me is almost like The Shining. It's a force. It's a vibe. And that's what I like about the Blair Witch, which is like you're just never sure. Like, was there a physical entity or just a force? Yeah. Is it just these woods, you know? And so like that was the big appeal of that movie, and it still managed to be scary and pay itself off by doing that.
And it doesn't do any of those corny things of like Paranormal Activity or even like the later Blair Witch sort of reboot did, where like people get like thrown through the air by some invisible force. No, there's none of that.
Right. So compare that to this movie. The problem is we know what a Bigfoot looks like. And then when you see it, you go, yep, that's Bigfoot.
There's one really good thing it does, and I wish they could have figured out more sequences like this. It's the sequence when Matt's on his bike. And the Bigfoot's chasing him. And what they do in this scene is the way they make it scary is they show the Bigfoot is really fucking fast and is going to catch him. He can't outrun him on his bike.
Yeah, it keeps cutting to his POV, and you can see that motherfucker
getting closer and like swooping. It's a pretty good sequence. And it's made, like you said, we already know what a Bigfoot is, but it takes like, we didn't think Bigfoot could run that fast. So like it puts something onto the Bigfoot to make it scarier in that moment and reveals it in that sequence. And that's really smart. I just wish it had done more of that.
I think these are good filmmakers. Like I Blair Witch and then VHS later. I think what it comes down to is like, I think Bigfoot
has a pretty firm ceiling, I think. Well, never mind, because
Willow Creek.
I was about to say I thought that until I saw Willow Creek.
Well, I think it's that when you're making a Bigfoot movie, you kind of in your mind go like, well, I'm going to show him, because what's the point in not showing him? Because it's like, oh, my imagination's scary. It's like, I mean, you're all imagining the same thing.
So without
imagining Bigfoot.
Yeah, without spoiling, Willow Creek also does a similar thing where it attaches something to the Bigfoot legend that's not part of the Bigfoot legend.
Yes, and it shows you things without showing you things.
Yeah.
But I do like there's this I do like when you realize like maybe Bigfoot doesn't, because not showing Bigfoot does create a little bit where you're like, I'd still like the other thing is when you see a Bigfoot, it's always just a costume. And so it's like it's easier to imagine this animal the way you'd see it in real life, and it will ultimately be more effective than if you see it.
Yeah.
The only other time I think Bigfoot was handled in a really cool way is The Man Who killed Hitler, and then the Bigfoot, where Bigfoot in that is like small. Remember that?
Yeah, he's like a rat man almost.
Yeah, I really liked that because I was like, oh, that's a really cool interpretation of Bigfoot, of being like more of this like more animal like that felt more of a realistic version. Yeah. Like a grounded version of Bigfoot, weirdly enough. So this all to say, like, this movie isn't going for any of that.
Dave, all versions of Bigfoot are grounded because Bigfoot doesn't have wings.
Okay. All right. But yeah, I think this movie, it's fun. It's just ultimately like it can only do so much with the way it's doing it.
Yeah.
Where it's like these dumbasses who aren't very entertaining, who are just having to create their own obstacles.
Yeah, they're fighting themselves for most of the movie. It's it's one of those. Yeah.
This would be a better short, I think. Personally. But I don't know. It's still if you like found footage, you like Bigfoot, it's definitely worth seeing,
Yeah, shall we move on to our other sections?
Yeah, let's learn about Bigfoot. So I'll give you our. I now have listed like 30 fucking facts about Bigfoot, but I'll go into. I'll tell you what I got.
Sure.
From Demon Warp, Bigfoot will break into your house at any time. Mm-hmm. He will fight you in your own house. Bigfoot knows what cars are and how to break them. In theory, that means
it's all true.
Yep. That means he could drive a car. Number 3, Bigfoot can and will twist your head clean off. Mm-hmm. It's his main method. Number 4, Bigfoot doesn't want to eat you. He just likes the thrill of killing.
Yeah.
5, Bigfoot knows how to defuse a bomb. It stands to reason that he also knows how to arm one.
Didn't test
6,
that one in this film, but...
Nope. Bigfoot knows how to be stealthy and hide in places like your own tent. He can be quiet. 7, he can be taken out with a few bullets like anyone else, which will turn him into your uncle. 8, sometimes Bigfoots are people who have been turned into Bigfoots by aliens. 9, Bigfoots like to watch. 10,
true.
Bigfoot hates liberated women.
True. Still
11,
true.
Yep, Bigfoots are made by aliens as aides or grunts. Bigfoot is an alien criminal who is stranded on Earth for his crimes. And then we're getting into Pottersville here. Sometimes Bigfoot's is Michael Shannon. Mm-hmm. Bigfoot is a cuck.
Sure is.
Bigfoot brings communities together like Santa Claus. All right. And now exists. Now feel free to jump in with any facts, but I'll start with the most obvious one. Quote, since 1967, there have been over 3,000 Bigfoot encounters in the U.S. alone. Experts agree the creatures are only violent if provoked. That is from the opening crawl of Exists. So that's a Bigfoot fact.
That's important. That's an important fact to add. I wish they would have given us a bibliography of which experts agree that Bigfoot is only dangerous when provoked. But I do know this for a fact. Here's the stone cold fact we just learned from this film, Dave, and that is Bigfoot is a single dad.
Yeah. Write that down. Holy shit. Just trying to make it work.
Just trying to make it work, man.
Single dad. Oh, that's a good one. We also know, because I learned a few things from the other one. Bigfoot, we've said this before, Bigfoot knows what cars are and how to break it.
Yeah.
That means they could also drive a car. That's in here. And now we know why. Because Bigfoot hates cars.
Yeah.
Because cars are Bigfoot's, I think, biggest predator.
Probably his only natural predator, yeah.
Yeah, I do. Are Bigfoot's only natural predator. Now we know. That's why Bigfoot hates cars. I also have Bigfoot will watch you fuck, which I realized we already have.
We have that, yeah.
Bigfoot likes to watch.
Yeah.
We also have Bigfoot breaks into your cabin.
Sure does. A lot of our facts were proven true by this film.
I know. That's what's great. Is there's some overlapping ones.
There's a definite uncle connection here. It's not the same uncle connection.
Yeah,
but
something about
Bigfoots and uncles.
On that cork board, we have to have uncles in big letters with question marks now. Sometimes Bigfoot is a boar. Sometimes.
Occasionally, yeah, that's true.
Yep. A Bigfoot is about as fast as a bro on a bike.
Oh, man. Bigfoot's got wheels.
Yeah. We know now that a Bigfoot can hurl a bike 100 yards.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yep. This is implied or from the Demon Warp, but we know Bigfoot knows how to break a generator, which means he understands power.
Yeah, he understands basic electricity charts, like flow charts. He's got a basic understanding. He was an apprenticed electrician. I've got one for you. Bigfoot has Wolverine powers. Bigfoot regenerates.
You're right. Bigfoot has Wolverine powers. All right, I got that down here. That's important.
But it seems like there's a limit. He doesn't regenerate right away.
Yeah.
He has to fuck off into the woods.
Yep. Well, so this is the only contradictory thing. We said a few bullets can kill Bigfoot, and a shotgun to the face only pisses Bigfoot off.
Well, I think if he had gotten another one, it might have done it.
Yep. This confirmed Bigfoot is sneaky.
He clearly disengages when he's about to get shot multiple times. Yeah, Bigfoot is extremely sneaky. Yeah,
we've learned that before. He'll also straw dogs you a little bit. He'll wait outside your house, picking off anybody who tries to call the cops.
It's a good strategy. Yeah, Bigfoot.
Yeah, he will.
So Bigfoot will straw dogs you sometime. Sub rule: Bigfoot may have a Blockbuster membership.
Maybe
because sub rule: Bigfoot may have seen straw dogs.
May have, yes. He'll kidnap you and your family.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That goes without saying.
Yeah. Bigfoot never forgets. You kill his Bigfoot, he'll kill you. From this movie, Bigfoot will kill you 5 out of every 6 times. Just going by this movie.
You don't like your odds going up against Bigfoot. It's not. Yeah.
The big one I have here is Bigfoot doesn't like gun violence.
No, he's very anti-gun.
And fireworks. He doesn't like fireworks or gun violence. He is anti-gun. You just put down your gun, he'll be fine. You know, everything will be fine.
He's trying to get guns out of our forests.
Yep. Do you have any other Bigfoot facts?
No. I'm suspecting he's kind of like a Batman version of the Lorax. No, more like a Frank Castle version of the Lorax.
Yeah, I can see that.
Where he speaks for the trees, but he does so by twisting people's heads off and smashing their legs.
Oh, yeah. Man, I want to like make sure we double up where we know, like, because I think by the end of this, I think we have to land on whatever facts are backed up by multiple movies.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, when we figure out, because we're going to just get, by the end of this, we're going to have like 100 facts, right? And so like, I feel like we have to, like, all the conflicting ones will probably like ultimately have to get rid of, scrub at the end and just see what has the overlap. And then we know for sure what Bigfoot is. So like right now, his relationship with cars is pretty clear. The fact that he likes to watch, the fact that he's sneaky, but he will break into your house.
At a moment's notice, he's got a burglar pick.
Yep. These are all like pretty clear facts at this point, you know?
Yeah. We're doing good work. We're creating strong reference material for future generations of Bigfoot experts, Dave.
I think so too. And speaking of Bigfoot experts, I guess we should talk about what Mulder would let's be like Mulder. Let's talk about Mulder as he would Mulder be in this.
Would do. Dave, I gotta be honest, he would do a lot of what these people do in this film.
Yeah. So I thought of a couple key differences, but Mulder would absolutely accidentally hit Bigfoot with his car.
Yes. Maybe.
He would. Depends on the situation, I guess. Mulder would be the closest character to Mulder is the stoner, right?
Yeah, Brian like is Mulder, essentially.
Yeah, he would absolutely go out to find
He would
Bigfoot
try to make contact with Bigfoot. Yeah, he would set up all the cameras to look for Bigfoot.
Yep, but point them in the wrong places.
He would definitely get his face rubbed into a dead Bigfoot child's grave by an angry Bigfoot dad. That Mulder would find himself in that situation. Absolutely.
He's a few characters. I feel like he'd also get his legs broken and dragged into a cave by Bigfoot.
Yep.
The biggest difference I could think of is that the ending would be the same ending, which is that the Bigfoot would walk away from Mulder because he's unarmed, but it wouldn't be because Mulder put down his gun. It'd be because he lost his gun. Obviously.
Yeah, Bigfoot would leap out of the forest and tackle him, and he would lose his gun.
He would do the scene where Bigfoot's throwing rocks and the guy's shooting. Mulder would do that. He would shoot blindly, and then a rock would hit him, and his
I don't think he would shoot blindly. I think he'd be like, no, you're going to shoot. You're provoking him, because remember, Mulder is pro Bigfoot.
That's true.
So Mulder would be like, you're provoking him.
You think he's going to try? I guess so we don't have a Bigfoot X-Files, do we? But we have Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
And in that one, he clearly kind of wanted to fuck Bigfoot a little bit.
A little bit. He was a little attracted to Bigfoot, the mystique of living off the land.
And he was sad, right? He wanted to capture Bigfoot, but he didn't want to kill Bigfoot.
No.
So he would be in that camp. He would be, trying to capture him.
But he almost gets killed because he wants to have a conversation with Jersey Devil and maybe also smooch. He would totally go off to try to speak to the big feet, get his legs smashed, and dragged into a hole so that Scully or Doggett would have to come rescue him.
Yeah, he would absolutely try to fuck Bigfoot. He would make a huge deal out of the dead Bigfoot kid, man. That's like a perfect. That's like a story you would invent to trick Mulder. It's so perfectly Mulder. No, we didn't respect his domain, Scully, and these kids ran down his baby. What would you do? What would you do if you were driven to the point of grief and madness by some callous teens encroaching in your home territory and running over your only child, Scully? Like, that's how the episode would end. He'd start pontificating on that shit. And we're like, Mulder, 6 people are dead. Your legs are powder. I don't know how you're talking right now. But he would definitely moralize while endangering every single person.
He'd moralize to the dead teens. Like, he'd be laid next to them on the rock as the Bigfoot's getting ready to shove his face into the baby. And he'd be like, You see, you all should have respected nature. Don't take a camping trip unless you read at least a little bit about the noble Sasquatch. And the flies are just coming out of this person's mouth.
Yeah.
He's just tut-tutting them while they're all leaking on this rock.
Yeah, it's very clear. Everybody would die but Mulder.
Yeah. Yes. He'd be the only person. Because
he would have lost his gun. His gun would have gotten knocked out of his hand, slid down a hill, and went over the fence in an elementary school or something like that. He would have lost his gun, and it would. Lord knows where it would go. And
right. They
completely luck out.
They preemptively file the serial number off of all of Mulder's guns for this exact purpose.
Exactly. Scully would drive up because she'd be back in doing forensics or something.
She'd be doing an autopsy on one of the kids.
He'd absolutely do this trip to the woods without telling anybody, right? It would be Skinner would call Scully up and be like, Mulder's missing. And she'd have to figure out the last fucking place he made a phone call.
She'd go to her inbox and find he'd mailed her that Bigfoot fur they took out of the headlight.
Yeah.
Scully, I want you to analyze this. I'm here in a cabin with 6 college students.
Right. That's the big thing is Mulder would be regularly leaving and coming back as opposed to trapped.
He'd be lost in the woods. He would go out he would go out the first night and they would never see him again.
You're right. He would get immediately lost.
Yeah.
They've played with that with the X-Files where both Mulder and Scully, they're city folk. So whenever they have episodes where they'd get lost in the woods and he'd be a half mile from the road and not even realize it. And then
left his GPS in the cabin or something.
Right. Yeah, it would be the gun thing would happen, but I think Bigfoot would still kick his ass. I could see Scully
get
finding
his legs smashed. I'm telling you, he'd get his legs smashed and dragged into the hutch.
She'd find him in a hutch with exactly, and then
cocooned with Bigfoot's other victims.
Everybody else is dead, and they'd bring him to the hospital. And
Scully, you don't understand. He just wanted to rub my face in his dead baby.
Yep, he would moralize in the hospital bed and then, like, type up his insane report about fatherhood and how it transcends nature.
A father's
and Skinner
love
would have to read it.
knows no bounds between species. The fuck is this, Agent Mulder? Agent Mulder,
it's Bigfoot, sir.
Got some concerns about the report. Really? That's what some of the bureaucrats at Washington don't want to. No, actually, it was your doctor that read it over and raised a lot of concerns. Thinks you're going to take you in for a CAT scan.
Yes, he would be very concussed.
Just
Mulder.
one of his eyes. It's just completely red.
100%.
Both legs and casts, an arm in a sling, and one eye completely red.
Yep.
I saw him, sir. I saw Bigfoot.
I'm sure you did. Mulder. You know what? I don't fucking care. Oh man. Oh, Mulder.
Yeah, we got kind of easy on this one because Brian basically does a lot of Muldering in this.
There's a lot of dumb. Yeah, we've had a few. Demon Warp was kind of like that. The next thing we're covering. Correct me if there's another movie. Hold on. I think this isn't the movie because the next thing we're covering is called Abominable. But I think there's a 2006 horror movie. That's what we're watching. Okay. Because I was like, isn't that a kids movie?
There is a kids movie called that, yeah.
But we are watching the 2006, I believe, Abominable, which makes more sense than the kids movie, because the kids movie I don't think is really like...
it's mostly about the Yeti. The mighty Yeti.
I was going to say, I'd love to see what Mulder would do in that situation, but I do not think that's... Yeah, I think... We're covering
there'd be
next.
There's a couple of different things he might possibly do, but I think any Yeti situation would always get to the same endpoint with Mulder, and that's frozen to death like Jack Torrance.
That's true. That is very true. But yeah, we're doing the next 2006 Abominable. If people are wondering,
if you want to watch it,
I have not seen,
and I recommend you do. These have all been very entertaining, if nothing less.
Bigfoot films are fairly nihilistic in a fun way. And what I mean by that is, like, we're making a Bigfoot movie, right? So it's just like we're
there's not a lot of pretense to a Bigfoot film.
Exactly. There's only, by the way, 2 movies that I've seen on our list of Bigfoot films. One of them is, in fact, Willow Creek, and the other one, which we're covering after Abominable, I might as well just tell people the lineup. I'm very excited for it because I have seen this. I saw it a long time ago as a teenager. Drawing Flies. Do you remember Drawing Flies?
No.
It is a View Askew film. It is one of the few View Askew films that is not a Clerks or a Kevin Smith directed film. It has a Silent Bob cameo in it. It stars Jason Lee and Jason Mewes. And it's a Bigfoot movie.
Oh, man.
So...
None of those words should connect together in a way that makes sense, but we are.
Yeah, long time ago, I hope we can find it. I'm sure we'll be able to find it somewhere. A long time ago, I remember seeing that there was like other fucking View Askew movies. And I rented this one because I was like, fucking, what is this movie? It's a weird ass movie. It's only an hour and change. Like, it's an hour, 15 minutes. So it's a shorty. It's like very indie.
A shorty footy?
Yeah, shorty footy. It's got Ethan Suplee in it as well. I'll figure out how to get my hands on it. We might have to like buy it. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like we're done talking about Exists at this point.
I think we're all set here. Yeah, we can be done. We can shamble off into the underbrush like Bigfoot.
Yeah, we can do that. And we can thank our producer, Bob Grenville.
Thank you.
This has been a delight. I'm really enjoying watching Bigfoot movies because they're Bigfoot movies.
Yeah, it's a genre I've not dipped nary a big toe in. So
like I said,
I'm happy to dip my whole Bigfoot into it.
Yeah, exactly. I've only seen 2 of these, so yeah. This was through our Patreon.
Yes.
Patreon. Patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. GAMEFULLY unemployed. For just $5 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder's Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, Spiel Boys. We watch movies every Friday night as well with our patrons.
Do.
I could see us watching a Bigfoot movie or two. Pottersville.
We could probably watch all of the movies we've covered so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
We also have a store. Head over to gamefullyunemployed.com. Let me try that again. Where you can find a link to our Teespring store. We have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs you can get on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, all sorts of things. So slap your Bigfoot and peepers onto that.
Do it.
Keep him in your hearts. Keep Mulder in your hearts. Walk with your head held high like a Bigfoot. Like a Bigfoot would, because they're so tall.
They are very tall.
Mm-hmm. They got big feet, man. Big feet, big legs.
They do have big feet, big legs. Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I get why we say that.
See why they came up with the name. Yeah, it works.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Well, bye.
Bye.